In 1993, on June 7th, on his 35th birthday, Prince did something that all of these other symbols out in the world, these like rock stars, had never quite done, and actually turned himself into a literal symbol. It's crazy. We grew up with this, and so people would always be making jokes about the artist formerly known as Prince and all this. But this really happened. And by the time I knew about Prince, he was not being called Prince.
You are listening to Tape Spaghetti, the podcast about the twisted and tangled innards of the music industry. Some of this content may not be for all listeners or viewers, so if it's not for you, no harm, no foul. We'll just catch you on the next one. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. Here we go.
Welcome back to another episode of Tape Spaghetti. I am Scott Marquardt. I am joined by Blake Weiland. And Blake, I am dispensing with all the pleasantries today because I want to get right to the fact that you are a little bit famous.
What? Wow, yeah, I mean, there's some people that listen to this podcast.
Well, something that you maybe had a hand in is a little bit famous.
Yeah. It's,
you want to tell the listeners what it's all about?
Yeah, it's a little bit weird. So, as a lot of you may know, I do a lot of stuff media-wise in the guitar gear world, like focusing on the actual products themselves and the people who make them. And through that, I've done a lot of guitar effects pedal collaborations. And because we have like more general music fans that listen to this that may not know what that is, when you see guitar players dancing around on stage, tapping those buttons, it's those things, and it drastically changes how the guitar sounds. I did a collaboration with one because I'm obsessed with pizza with my friends at Big Ear Pedals. They came up with the concept. I was really more along for the ride of making a guitar pedal in the shape of a slice of pizza. And it was called the Slice of Pie. We released it several years ago, and a lot of people grabbed them. And lo and behold, there's a new Spinal Tap movie that came out. And all of a sudden we were getting messages from people who have seen the movie that our pizza pedal is featured rather prominently in the movie. It's like a bit, from what I haven't seen the movie yet myself, but from what I gather, it's a bit of the These Go to 11 moment in this version of Spinal Tap. So I'm excited to go see it probably this week. And yeah, but you did see it, right?
I saw it last night. Yeah, you sent me the video clip of Christopher Guest.
I would never do that. How would I ever get that?
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Well, hey, they're using your pedal and no one asked you anything. So
that's true. That's what Grant said.
Exactly. It's like I kind of would have thought they ran it by because it's like featured. It's zoomed right in. You can see it right there. And I was like just about to walk into the movie when you sent it to me, so I wasn't sure if that was an outtake or what. But it's very much right there in the movie. It's really funny, and I was so proud. I was just beside myself.
It's crazy. This industry leads you to some really weird places, and this is one of the cooler and weirder ones. Now, I should say, for everyone who's seen the movie already, or will go see it, I guess, the sound that they show coming out of the pedal is not at all what the pedal does, but for comedic effect, I understand why they spliced that in instead.
I wasn't sure if that was like a weird setting that they made it sound just really honky, or if that's just a whole different pedal.
It's a Miku.
Okay.
Yeah.
They use the Miku again later. That comes up.
I mean, if that's not the Miku, I don't know what it is. It sounds like very much like a Miku setting. But
the Miku's right there on his board. You can see it. So that would make sense.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a Miku sound that they use. The pedal itself makes a big like wall of distortion sound. But that wouldn't have been as funny for the purposes of this movie. So I get why they did that.
No, and they could have shown like the Miku one, but they didn't. Maybe they liked that the Slice of Pie doesn't have like a prominent logo on it.
Maybe. Yeah, and
the Korg Miku definitely does. And that's like a company you have to contend with.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing is, this is the cheese slice. So we did a pepperoni version and a cheese version. There are like several hundred, I don't remember how many exactly, several hundred pepperoni versions out in the wild. There's only like 50 of the cheese. So somehow they got the rarer version as well, which is just weird.
I assume Christopher Guest bought it from you guys when you sold it. He buys strings from us.
We don't have his name in the list of customers, but somebody associated with production had to have had it and then just, they're like, this is a funny pedal.
It made too much sense.
Yeah. Like I don't know how it happened. I hope to get the story at one point.
The real question I want to know is, are you guys going to re-release the now famous slice of pie pizza pedal?
Possibly. Yeah. If there's enough noise about it, then there's a good chance.
It's in the movie Spinal Tap. Yeah. I think that there's got to be enough noise about it.
I think we probably will. And, it's a little bit more up to Big Ear and what they have going on at the time. But, I'd certainly love to see it. For sure. I
don't know of any other guitar pedal that is like up close and featured in a major feature film across all of history.
I don't either.
So I think that this is probably the most important thing for them to do too.
I would think so. Yeah, I think they're gonna attempt to. The real outlier is the enclosure, which is what attracts everybody to it in the first place, is really difficult and expensive to make. And so
there's a reason these things aren't shaped like slices of pizza.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll see. That remains to be seen. But I'm certainly excited about it. And it's really funny that you were just happening to be going to the movie. When I got that video, I was like, I gotta send this to Scott. Or when somehow it appeared on my phone. I didn't get it.
I go to the movies like not every, but almost every Sunday.
Oh yeah,
that's usually like movie day. Yeah,
I never think that there's enough movies that I personally want to see out every Sunday, but
yeah, maybe I don't look hard enough. It's not every. It's probably like a third to half of the Sundays.
Okay.
But every time there's a movie I want to see, Sunday night's usually a good time to do it.
Yes, it makes sense.
I like it quite a bit. Mm-hmm. Well, congrats, buddy. That's the coolest thing. I was just absolutely overjoyed about all of that. That is wild.
It's so crazy. It's crazy that I'm just like, wow, it's weird that we're not hearing about it until the movie drops. Cause like our logo's not on it, but it's on the back. Like it's not hard to figure out where it came from. So
yeah, I find that a little strange too. I feel like they have to usually like Hollywood, I think they probably endeavor to clear everything, and it's like a whole involved process.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not like we would have said no.
Oh no, definitely, of course not. Yeah,
maybe that was their thought too.
I was wondering, maybe they're just like, let's just ask for forgiveness.
Yeah, it's like they're not going to be mad about it. We're certainly not. So,
and you were not.
No.
Yeah, that's always the thing with like in our world, people will like tape over like the Gibson logo on a headstock of a guitar as though they would be upset that it's in this film.
Yeah, I've seen that a lot. And but I will say less so in the last, 5-6 years. I feel like that has become much less of a thing. But
yeah, I wonder if I remember Mark Agnesi at Gibson like talking about like, we want to work with you. Stop doing that.
Yeah.
So maybe they just straight up told them like, please stop. It's fine.
Please stop. Yes. Use the logo. That's the best thing you could do for us.
Yes, we want it. Thank you very much.
Yep. Yeah. It's like, we're going to use your strings, but we're going to cover up the packaging whenever we take a photo of it. No,
thank you.
Yes.
No, thank you. Well, anyway, that's the coolest intro I think we've had in a little bit. But without letting it go on too long, I think we should get into the main thrust of today's episode.
I like it. Speaking of logos,
that's right. Well, Prince, who, needs little introduction as one of like the great superstars of all time. In 1993, on June 7th, on his 35th birthday, Prince did something that all of these other symbols out in the world, these like rock stars, had never quite done, and actually turned himself into a literal symbol. It's crazy. We grew up with this, and so people would always be making jokes about the artist formerly known as Prince and all this, but this really happened. And by the time I knew about Prince, he was not being called Prince, because of just my particular age.
Same. Yeah. I was really confused as a kid because I would hear even in like things like the Animaniacs, we're a little more adult oriented, but not fully. They'd be like the artist formerly known. I'm like, why do they keep saying that? What does that mean?
It was a big joke. Yeah. Exactly. Everyone in the 90s was like the artist formerly known as whatever.
Yeah. I was so confused. It wasn't until probably I was probably a fairly older teenager that I really understood what was going on.
Yeah, same. But this is a wild thing that nobody had ever done before, and I don't think that anybody that isn't Prince would have thought to do it either. But it's a really interesting story because he had some good reasons for doing it outside of just being weird. I think that I thought at the time that he was just being weird.
I think that does factor into it.
I think it's a little piece of it. Yeah, but he had some other good reasons, and it had some interesting originations and interesting results as it kind of went through over time. So today I wanted to tell the story of Prince going to war with his own name and becoming a symbol. And we're going to get to all the cool symbol stuff, but I want to do a little bit of recap on Prince's career up to this point, because this is not the beginning of Prince's career by any means. 1993, we're about 15, 16 years into Prince being a thing. So
a very big thing, like
a huge thing.
Yeah. Some people work for 15 years and you still kind of don't know who they are. Everybody knows who Prince is at this point.
100%. So to take us to the very beginning, 1977 is when 18-year-old Prince Rogers Nelson, Prince is in fact his like real Christian name, which like you'd be forgiven for thinking that was like a stage name he put on, but it is not. This is when he signs his very first contract with Warner Brothers Records. And this is interesting. I'd always heard the story about how like Stevie Wonder got this contract, I think when he left Motown, that meant that he was able to play every instrument on every album. Which was an insane amount of artistic freedom. And Prince basically told these guys, I want the Stevie Wonder contract.
Okay.
So at the age of 18, Mo Austin, the head of A&R, Lenny Waronker.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you say that the right way.
Yeah, I'm going to go with it.
Took this huge risk on this 18-year-old, prodigy of a kid and gave him complete creative control over all of his music and gave him this clause that specifically allows him to produce, arrange, compose, and perform every instrument that he wants to on his initial album, which he does. Prince is like such a crazy talented person that like on a lot of these albums, he's playing everything.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And every instrument is like playing too. He's not like, I can kind of like sit back and cover drums. He's on it on all of them.
Yeah. He doesn't play bass in the way that I play bass. I quote unquote can play the bass, but I am not a bass player. Prince is proficient at everything.
Yeah, he's very, very good. And sincerely, like, I mean, it's the style of music that enables him to do this, but like a lot of the instruments on multiple of his tracks are playing a lot all at the same time. Stevie Wonder would do a very similar thing where there's just a lot happening and it works. Sometimes that can not work. It could come out being overly proggy and it doesn't really with Prince.
No.
So Prince kind of takes off. His self-titled album, Prince, in 1979, gives him his first major hit, I Want to Be Your Lover, which I think about everybody on the planet probably knows this song. Dirty Mind comes next in 1980, Controversy 1981. Also the title track from Controversy, I've been bumping the last couple of days. Fantastic.
In preparation, so yes.
I didn't even know that I was going to talk about this. I was just bumping Prince.
I think your subconscious knew you were going to talk about it.
At some level, maybe. His real commercial breakthrough comes with the album 1999, which came out in 1982. A little confusing there, which became this huge global smash. Little Red Corvette was on this record, and that was a very popular one. I think you know what Little Red Corvette is about.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Okay. Great. Then we won't cover that. Kind of all of his songs are a little bit about that or something like it.
Yep. Yeah.
There's a lot of winks and nods.
He comes up with a lot of I don't know what the word is. He comes up with interesting ways to describe what he is describing.
He does. He certainly does. But this era kind of keeps going for him and culminates really with Purple Rain, which is like a massive global cultural phenomenon. There's an album, there's a film, there was a massive tour, the likes of like the Taylor Swift tours that we have now. Just like he was absolutely everywhere when Purple Rain came out. And even to this day, I mean, everybody knows Purple Rain.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody.
Even if you don't know the full song, you've heard somebody going, Purple Rain, Purple Rain. Like, you know it. You do 100%. Know it.
So this is like his first really big peak as an artist. And he has a little bit of a hard time kind of following that up. He goes a little bit crazy, a little psychedelic with Around the World in a Day in 85, and then kind of goes like more European style with Parade. He disbands The Revolution, his backing band, shortly after this. It's a little ebb and flowy, this whole period. He puts out Sign of the Times, which is often like seen as his like magnum opus, but its sales were nothing of what Purple Rain's sales were. So it was kind of a mixed bag of great music, not great sales. Love Sexy was like a commercial success or a creative success, but commercially also it kind of disappointed as well. That came right after. And there's a whole lot of weird stuff that's happening. He cancels an album called The Black Album at this time, like just shortly before putting it out. He says that this album is evil and just pulls it completely. It's
weird.
Like, nope, we're not going to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little strange. And there's some ebbs and flows. Like I said, 1990s Graffiti Bridge was kind of like a low point in some ways. So he's bouncing up and down. It really kind of like pops back up again just before that, though. He does the soundtrack to Tim Burton's original Batman. Yeah. And the Batman soundtrack, which is all Prince, becomes like a multi-platinum worldwide hit.
It's great.
I didn't realize that I haven't watched the original Batman in a long time. And in researching this, I was like, Prince did the whole soundtrack to the first Batman?
And if you hear it now through that lens, you'll be like, oh, yeah, this is Prince. Of course it
Makes
is.
sense.
Yeah. But it's not done in a way that distracts from the movie, though. It is very Prince, but it's also very Tim Burton as well.
Yeah, that makes sense. I watched Batman Returns, the Christmas one.
Yes.
More recently. And that one's weird.
It's real weird.
It's also good, but it's weird.
Could be worse. Your nose could be gushing blood. Such a great line. Thank you, Danny DeVito.
Oh, man. I if ever there was a man built for a character.
Yeah. It's true.
I don't know how many people they had test read for that, but I think they were like, yeah, it's got to be him.
Yeah, you think he just walked in? They're like, everyone else leave.
Yeah, get out of here. This is the man. So following kind of this success, he puts out the album Diamonds and Pearls in 1991. He has a new backing band for this, the New Power Generation. It's like a super great radio-friendly album, had a ton of hits on it. This kind of relaunches him up into the stratosphere a little bit. He never really leaves the stratosphere, but it ebbs and flows a little bit. And at this particular time, it's cooking for him, which sets us up to where we're going to be talking about the symbol and what kind of leads to all this. So Prince is riding high on this success. He's found kind of this nice second wave in his career in a lot of ways. And it's time for him to sign a new record deal. So he signs this record deal with Warner Brothers on August 31st, 1992. This was like a very newsworthy thing. It was touted as $100 million deal, which was bonkers, especially in 1992. That's like
a
when
lot
you hear
now.
About,
in 92, that's a lot.
Yeah, I should check like what the biggest like MLB salary would have been at this time, like contract would have been at this time. Probably like that or maybe even smaller. So this is big news, but it's not exactly the way that that's reported. It's not like he got a lump sum right at the beginning. It was structured as a 6-album contract with a $10 million advance per album. So to people out there, advances on an album basis in typical music industry contracts are truly an advance. So you're just going to recoup that money with the label. The label's going to keep your share of the earnings until they've recouped that amount of money, and then you would start to get more money after that. But it does function as a bit of a guaranteed payment. Even if it flops, you're not typically returning any money from that advance.
Right. So just to go with what you were talking about with the MLB there, it would have been the average annual salary. The highest one in the MLB was for a guy, Ryne Sandberg. I don't follow the
Ryne
MLB.
Sandberg, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know him. So everyone's like, come on, Blake, go with it. No, I don't follow any sports really. Average annual salary of $7.1 million in 1992 for 4 years. So his contract was shorter, but similar. So it was
like a $28 million contract.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So a $100 million musical contract is bonkers.
It's a lot.
Absolutely nuts. So $10 million advance per record for 6 records. It also included a really high royalty rate. So it was supposed to be about 25% which was like the highest royalty rate in the industry.
25%?
25 is a lot. That's for a major label deal. It's
yeah, that's crazy. Wow.
And again, I mean, the label's going to be, he's not going to see that money until the label's recouped its $10 million advance, most likely. Sure. I haven't read the exact terms of the contract, but still, I mean, that's about as good of a guaranteed payment plus royalty deal as I've ever really heard of.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It goes a little bit beyond that too. So he also was made a vice president of Warner Brothers Records as a part of the deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're really handing him the keys to the kingdom here.
They were. Yeah. And it's kind of like how some actors will get a production credit after a certain number of seasons or whatever when they're renegotiating their contract. So it's not like he was like he had an office or a cubicle at Warner Brothers that he was pulling up to or anything. But it was meant to kind of give him a seat at the table to like really talk about business matters as well. They also create this joint venture that creates Paisley Park Records. Paisley Park is Prince's like compound that he was in at the time. So he got $20 million in operational funding for his own label, Paisley Park Records, which would exist underneath the Warner Brothers, umbrella, as sort of a joint venture. So I presume he got some ownership in that label that he was making as well. But I don't know for sure because the one problem, like the only thing Prince doesn't get in this deal really is he doesn't get any sort of ownership on the master recordings.
Wow. He gets all of this, but not any percentage of ownership or anything. Just it's all Warner Brothers.
Yeah, nothing as far as I can tell. And I mean, like, I don't know how many people would have even, negotiated master's ownership back then. Probably not many, if any.
It's a big part of the conversation now, but it's really not then. But that is the way that quote unquote labels have screwed musicians for years, is by owning their work, basically. But in this case, I feel like they're paying a rather handsome fee for it. So it's probably okay. That's
the other side of it is like, he doesn't get the masters, but also they're paying him $100 million for the masters.
Right.
That's what they're paying for, really.
Yeah.
If he owned the masters, they wouldn't, what would they get?
Yeah. Why are we paying you?
Right, exactly. But that was the kind of knock. So I mean, Prince still has a lot of like a pretty much unprecedented level of creative control plus economic benefit and incentive, the likes of which really hasn't been seen at the time. I'm not sure what Michael Jackson's contract would have been like. It would have been bonkers. It might have eclipsed this even. But this is one heck of a contract.
Yeah, it's real spicy.
And so you might be thinking, given that Prince was offered this $100 million contract and had all sorts of creative control, everything probably just went great from there. And they were all the best of friends.
Of course. That's the way this always goes.
Yeah, it did not go that way.
Oh.
That's why we're talking about it, in fact.
All right. Well, what did happen?
There were a few breakdowns, dear Blake. Thank you so much for asking. The biggest one is... Prince is an absurdly prolific artist and always was. He, like, not just in terms of what he releases, but just what he records. He famously, in a lot of like eras, he recorded a song per day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was his thing. He would just go in and cut everything for the most part himself.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's mostly recording like at his own studio. So I mean, he's just there, and it's like, what else are you gonna do?
Well, and these days that wouldn't be nearly as weird. Right? A lot of people have the ability. We've talked about this a lot. A lot of people have the ability to record high quality or decent quality recordings in their home studio. And they could pull something like that off. But to pull it off at the level that Prince is pulling it off, especially at that time, required a massive amount of resources.
A lot of money. Yeah.
Now it's a little different. But at the time, if you wanted to record a song every day and you had the ability, like the physical ability to do it, you probably didn't have the monetary resources to get it done.
Yep.
But Prince did.
But I mean, even now, it would take a tremendous amount of discipline to show up every day. And, being creative when you don't feel creative is hard. I think
very hard. I don't really do it.
I have some friends like in Nashville that are like pro songwriters, and that's kind of their life too, where they spend their working day sitting down working on songs. And like, what's it like when you don't feel like you've got something, They're like, you just gotta make something, just grit through it. And that sounds harder to me than, pushing paper at a cubicle that's like uninspiring, because that you can just do whether you're into it or not.
Yeah, who cares? I guess in some ways it's a little more similar to like construction in some ways. Like there are like some set things you need to do, but there's a lot of, it might shock people to find how much creativity goes into like having to do some of these projects. And let's be honest, a lot of people don't feel like doing that when they're doing it, but they get it done anyway. And I thank them for it.
But you get the job done. And yes, like a blue collar Minnesotan, Prince goes in and gets the job done every day.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
But so he's making an insane amount of music and has always been this way. He has the famous The Vault, quote unquote, that's filled with thousands of songs that are unreleased, right? So he makes all this music, and he doesn't have to, but he does it because he seemingly wants to, and he wants a lot of this stuff to get out into the world, which creates a big clash with the Warner Brothers business model. So Warner at this time is operating on a very standard 18 to 24 month album cycle, where you're going to record an album, put the album out, tour behind it for a whole long time, get 3, 4, 5, 6 singles promoted on it, and then start the whole process again. Right? Yep. There's a lot that goes into that. There's a lot of like marketing and music videos that have to be shot and tours that have to be arranged and actually like driven and performed on. And so they felt that, this is the right pacing to not oversaturate the market for an artist, was to, wait a little bit, get all the best stuff on an album, and then rinse and repeat. Prince felt that this was a huge constraint on his art. He felt that he had a lot more music to give than, just like 6 albums every 2 years. And he wanted to see it, get the light of day. But also, I think the timing was a little bit of a thing too. I think he felt like he was under their thumb while he was in their contract. And so finding out like, oh, well, it's going to take me 12 years to get that $100 million. Like, no, I'm ready for it now, baby.
Yeah. I want it
I got
all.
your albums right here.
Yeah. I can fulfill this contract right now if you'll let me.
Yeah. So there's a lot of this, the kind of like height of the tension, prior to at least the symbol bit, came over the album that would become the Gold Experience. Prince considered this a masterpiece. The label delayed it in a lot of ways and had some disagreement. So there's a lot of this. I mean, and I'm not sure how that worked with Prince's like full creative control. Maybe he ceded a little bit of that in this. I'm not sure. Or maybe it's just he can make the album, but it's up to the label as to when and how they want to put it out.
Right.
In any case, there's a lot of tensions forming between Prince and the label for these various reasons.
And this is like 92, or is this, what year is this?
Yeah, 92 bleeding into the beginning of 93.
Okay, got it.
Is in the period that we're in right now. And again, you got to respect it a little bit because, a lot of people like the tension between them and their contract is they don't want to do the work. And this is the opposite.
Yeah, there's a handful, more than a handful. There's a lot of musicians over the years. They're like, we need an album. Oh, well, we talked about like Axl Rose. He took however many years to put out that album, and a lot of people like will work on one thing for way too long. Prince is just like, turn and burn, baby. We're going. Yep.
Yeah. And I don't think he felt like he was sacrificing anything either. I think he's like, it's just all great. I've got this much great stuff in me.
I'm Prince. What do you want?
So this all leads us to the aforementioned June 3rd, 1933, Prince's 35th birthday, on which he announced that he is changing his name to an unpronounceable symbol. You've seen this symbol. I think probably most people listening can picture it in their head. But if you haven't, it looks a lot like the sort of classic like male and female symbols, the circle with a line, and it's either a cross for the female one or it's an arrow for the male one, which is also the Volvo logo. He kind of crosses those two into this one thing and then adds some cool flair and flourishes. It had been around in some forms for Prince prior to this, though not like the ultimate form that it became. People start calling it the love symbol number 2, but it doesn't have a specific pronunciation. It's just
why number 2? Was there a number 1?
I think the number 1 was probably the earlier draft of it.
Okay, got it.
Is my particular guess. Sounds like we got a train coming, and that train sure is blowing its horn.
It really wants you to know,
listeners.
Yeah, this is like throwback to a vintage Tone Mob episode right now.
That's right. Yeah, when Blake lived and worked in the train yard.
Yes.
So Prince works really closely. He has in-house art directors that like work at Paisley Park. So Tara Shetter is one, and Liz Luce is another. They basically, when Prince decides this, have like some 48-hour period to like get it perfect.
Okay. Wow.
So it was definitely like a race in a lot of ways. His thinking behind doing this. Now, I think that he probably had a lot of reasons and thoughts as to how to do this, but the general kind of understanding of it is that by abandoning the name Prince, he was arguing that he was no longer the entity contractually bound to Warner Brothers Records. Right?
Now, it's
Prince
an interesting
signed
move
to Warner Brothers Records, but I am no longer Prince. I am the love symbol.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. I see where he's going with it, but that would mean that any contract you could get out of by simply changing your name.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's how contracts work.
It doesn't. I don't think. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, and I'm sure that somebody could give you like a more cogent reason why, but I also do not think that that's how it works. Right. If you like signed a contract as Blake D. Weiland and then are like, no, I am now Blake A. Weiland. I have changed my middle name. I'm not that person that signed that contract. I don't owe you
the payment on this vehicle anymore, and I'm still going to keep it though.
Yeah, I don't think that works. And I suspect that he knew that it wasn't going to work. I think what he really wanted to do was create some chaos and some leverage in these overall negotiations.
Yeah, he's not an idiot.
Right. Definitely not. He's a super smart dude. Mm-hmm. So this kicks off a crazy like logistical and media challenge more than anything. The symbol is not pronounceable, right? And it's not supposed to. And he must have fought people calling it the love symbol or whatever, because that's not what people came to refer to it as. The media basically congeals around referring to him as Tafcap, the artist formerly known as Prince.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah.
Right. I'm not sure who started this, but once it catches on, people are like, okay, we'll just go with that.
Yeah.
That's
what else are you going to do? Yeah.
Yeah. It was also, importantly, not on any standard keyboard. So what Warner Brothers does to overcome this, the publicity department creates thousands of floppy disks that contain a custom font that has this symbol in it that they could send to media outlets all over the world so that media outlets can type the symbol in text as they're writing about him.
That's wild. Wow. I was gonna say I'm looking at a full keyboard right now and it's not on there. So
no.
Not as easy as just downloading them like we could now.
Yeah, but now it'd be relatively easy, and yet nobody's done the same thing since.
Was there a specific key that they had to replace? Is that mentioned anywhere?
It is not mentioned. I mean, you probably could just do shift option minus.
Option 5-6 or something.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Or just copy it and paste it right in there. I don't know.
Yeah, that's wild. That's crazy that they're like, okay, we need to make sure that this is able to be talked about in the media. So we got to spend who knows how much money sending out these floppy disks.
Mm-hmm.
Wild.
Yeah, it's wild. At the same time, he also begins an additional protest. So he starts appearing publicly with the word slave written on his cheek.
Right. I remember
which is meant to
this.
be, a fairly direct commentary on his contractual relationship with Warner Brothers, and basically framing that because he doesn't own these masters, he is, functionally their slave.
Right. That they pay $100 million.
That they did pay a lot of money for. Yeah.
I get what he's saying, but also it's like, I'm sure some actual slaves would like a word.
I think probably so.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. But this becomes a crazy media circus. And in some ways, I think it's probably not the worst thing for Warner Brothers either.
Right.
Because this gets so much press. This is like all anyone's talking about. And it's the butt of a lot of jokes, but also like it gets a lot of very serious press and attention by people.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. So because while all this is going on, they still own all this stuff. Yeah. sales are going to be generated. People who have never heard about him before are going, what is this? Why is this a big deal? I guess I got to buy an album to find out.
Exactly right. I better give the label money in order to find out what they had done to him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That happened. Like some people were just so curious. They had to open the wallet and find out what the big deal was.
And it's worth noting, and I'm just going to mention this now because we'll probably see it in a comment. I saw in researching this a lot of like comments from users saying like, well, Warner Brothers trademarked the name Prince and were like making it so that he couldn't perform under that name. They owned the name and not him, and that's why he did it. I have found nothing to support that, and also I don't think that makes a lot of sense. You typically can't trademark names.
Right. I have also seen this argument before, but I did zero research to find out if it was true. So.
Yeah, I if somebody knows more, please feel free to comment somewhere. But I have not been able to find anything real that points to that. Just a lot of rumors and people saying that's what's happening.
Internet surmising.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So this name change to a symbol, it does not like legally achieve its intended aim, if that really was its intended aim. He very much still has to satisfy his contract, but it stirs up a ton of attention. And what Prince basically moves to after this, instead of trying to just wriggle out of the contract, is satisfying his contract as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what he goes after doing. So the first album is called Come. I don't know if it's that, but it's Prince, so I can't like help but think that everything is that.
Yes, sure.
On the cover of the album, it says Prince 1958 to 1993. So it basically is, like a tombstone for Prince, since the original Prince is dead now.
Right.
And now all we have is Symbol.
Yeah, the artist formerly known as.
The artist formerly known as Prince. Mm-hmm. So this album in 1994 is like a moody collection of like a bunch of older Vault material. So it's stuff that he had pretty much. And he's like, there, album, go. So this comes out in 94. Another album also comes out in 1994. And this album is the aforementioned The Black Album that he recorded back in 1987 and then pulled a week before its release, claiming it was evil. Not sure why he felt that way, but you
made it, buddy.
I know.
So
we've talked about a few evil albums on this show, so it's not the first.
No. But I didn't realize it was that much longer. So it was pulled in 87. It was going to be released in 87, got pulled, and then came out in 94.
Yeah, 7 years later. And it's a cool, gritty funk album. It super is. But yeah, again, he's got it. He had pulled it off the shelf already. So boom, that becomes album number 2. We're a third of the way there.
Not evil anymore. Here you go.
That's right. The next one is the one that I mentioned a little bit ago, The Gold Experience, in 1995. So this is like a very contemporary and powerful work that Prince really felt really good about and wanted to make sure that it got a proper release. This contains the track Slave and the hit The Most Beautiful Girl in the World. So this is like the one like sort of true real album in this period.
Mm-hmm.
Like that he really was like, this is a I'll plant my flag in it. This is a great Prince album, like all the others.
And this one was it recorded during this time frame, or is it a combination of Vault material? Do we know?
This was recorded around this, like more recent to this.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, he recorded it as an album. It wasn't like a collection of material,
cool,
like the others. The next one is Girl 6, which is a soundtrack to the Spike Lee film. Also, a lot of this stuff's previously released with like a couple of new tracks, I think. So this is like the sort of like easiest, laziest way to get an album checked off.
Sure.
But it counts.
All right. As long as
that's good. And the final one is Chaos and Disorder, which he delivers to them with liner notes that explicitly said it was released solely to fulfill a contractual obligation.
Wow. He's not mincing words at all. He's really, really upset.
Yeah, he wants you to know. Nah. And it's not that these things are like just garbage or anything. Like
I don't know if he can make garbage. I'm not sure that
exactly
that's possible.
Like as we've talked about before, a number of artists have done some version of mailing it in to like work their way through album requirements.
Oh yeah, we talked about that one pretty extensively here recently.
There's a few people that have done some version of that. Because you were talking about Frank Ocean that did it.
Yep.
Lou Reed, a little bit like that, and Neil Young as well.
Yep. Oh yeah, I forgot about Neil Young's. Yeah. Yes.
Oh, we'll talk about it.
I'm sure we'll get there.
It's on my list. So it's a thing, but Prince is Prince, and Prince has so much stuff. I mean, I think Prince, he easily could have filled 6 full albums all in 1994 if they let him. It feels that there's a little bit of a back and forth of how quickly they'll let him release it, though he's definitely pushing to just get this stuff out of there.
Get it out, get it done. Give me my money.
And if you're Warner Brothers, I mean, you signed this massive deal. I mean, presumably they were paying him this $10 million a record for these things. Where he's like, here you go.
Yeah. Well, wait, we were hoping that maybe we would get some more revenue from the last one before we had to pay you for this one. But no. And I'm sure that was part of the shuffle, because even a big company like that, $10 million is still a good chunk of change, even for them.
Yeah, I mean, they can easily lose 10 million and be fine.
Sure. But 100 million.
But 100 million is it's stretched over. They'll be fine.
Yeah, they will. They are currently fine. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yes. We don't need to feel too bad.
I don't.
But yeah, raw deal for them. Now, granted, I mean, they also own his entire catalog up to this point.
Yeah, so they're still going to, like, they had to pay him for it, but they're still cashing in on that right now.
Yeah, they're making some money for sure. Always. Well, not quite right now. We'll get to that.
Okay.
So Prince is done. He has broken the shackles of his slavery to the label, in his words at least.
The goldenest of handcuffs.
Exactly. The goldenest of handcuffs as well. Well said. And so he has an album finally, not under Warner Brothers Records. It's on his own NPG records. It's now that he's free of the contract. He releases the album Emancipation in 1996. So we're only like 3-ish years after changing the name to the symbol. And he's like gotten 5 more successive albums out after the first that was out, and is free. This happened pretty fast.
That's really fast. Yeah.
And with a lot of material coming out in the meantime.
Wait a minute. No, yeah. Okay. Sorry. I was going to make a dumb statement, but I mathed wrong in my brain. I'm with you now. We're all on the same page.
So this album is called Emancipation. Can't remember if I said that already, which is a pretty obvious. I mean, he really is sticking to the slavery comparison this whole time.
Yes.
Yeah. This album is huge. It's a triple album. It's 3 discs, each one exactly 60 minutes.
Wow.
It's 180 minutes of album.
That is, wow. Okay. So it really shows, unless he just cranked this out, which he might have. He's Prince. He really is sitting on a lot of stuff.
There are good bands that don't even have 180 minutes of like total music that they've recorded in their entire history.
Yeah.
And this is just one record.
Yeah. That's wild.
And I don't mean to say it's all killer and no filler. I mean, it's not quite filler, but like, you know, there are ups and downs. But it's a monster no matter what.
Yeah. That's wild. That's a big, when I thought big, I thought you were going to say it sold 14 gajillion copies, which maybe it did, but we'll get to that.
Yeah. But it's just long. It's just a really, really long album. And I haven't seen a physical version of this. I'm not sure how the CD would have come out as a triple CD. I wonder if it was a box. It probably wasn't. They probably had some contraption that held 3 different CDs. I feel like maybe I encountered that like a digibook in the old days where it would fold out and thered be 3 different discs.
I can't remember. I remember double disc, but I can't ever remember triples.
I remember the double. Yeah. I remember having the CD of Red Hot Chili Peppers, the space themed album with Danny California and Snow and all that.
Yep.
I can't remember what it was called. One was like Mars and one was Venus or something. I remember having that double CD, and it just kind of opened the back. there are two
Garth
different
Brooks
discs in
Double
there.
Live, which, referencing a previous episode. But yes, he's the king of the multi-disc. What are we talking about? That's his favorite thing.
Oh yeah, big time. Anyway, I will find a physical version of this somewhere because I've been. This is a bit of an aside, but I've been buying up CDs a lot lately. My car that I have only has a CD player, and I refuse to put anything else in it. So I have a CD wallet now. I went on Amazon and I got an old CD wallet, and I'm filling it up, and it's great. I love it.
I love that. Yeah, we brought our car also has a CD player, and my wife hasn't had a car that had a CD player in a long time, so we brought our old CD wallets on a road trip recently, and I was like, this just feels fun. I remember when we did this. Yeah.
The limitations are nice about it.
Yes.
I these are my options, and this is what I can listen to. And that's it. There's no sense of like, oh, did I choose right? Like, you only have to pick one out of 24.
Yep. It's great. And especially if you have a bunch of your old burned mixed tapes, but mixed albums. You'll
those
be
are
surprised.
back at my parents' house. I need to find those.
Get those, and you'll be like, oh, I forgot about this song. Anyway,
in my other car, prior to this, I had exactly one CD, and it just remains in the CD player in my other car for when like the radio would go out, like on a road trip, like if we're going through a tunnel or something. And that CD is the Ocean's 12 soundtrack.
Yes, I'm aware. You're the number one Danny Ocean fan that I know
of. Yeah. Anyway, pulling us back to where we were. So Prince, in the late 90s has all this creative freedom. He still is not Prince, by the way. This is still the artist formerly known as Prince, which I probably should have been respectfully calling him during this time. So he also like plays around with some direct to fan distribution models. He has a telephone hotline that is 1-800-NEW-FUNK.
I like that. New Funk.
I need to call. I'll be calling that later tonight to see if it's still around. I hope it's like the Space Jam website and it's still there.
Yeah, I do too. Fingers crossed.
And he has one of the early like artist run websites, speaking of the Space Jam website as well, to sell music directly. Most notably, this is his 1998 box set Crystal Ball that's coming out in these fun ways. So he's having fun with his newfound freedom, doing all sorts of crazy stuff.
Yeah, well, and he can. That's the other part. Like we talked about the recording access that he has that very few people had at the time. But also, not very many people can afford to set up a 1-800 number and probably have to have a physical operator there to take credit cards. And like, that's just not on most bands' radar to even think to do that. I love that he's
somewhere
so
there
out
was
of
a
the
call
box.
center in the 90s that was like painted purple, and they were the Prince direct to fan call center.
Yes. Love symbol number 2. What can I get you?
So that's pretty wild. But fast forward a couple years into May 2000, finally, his publishing contract. So he still has a publishing contract. We talked about this a little bit on some shows. Master side and publishing side are two different sides that are represented separately for any album. So while he gets his rights to his own masters back, he still is operating under a Warner subsidiary for publishing, where they get a certain rights to things that he's writing. Those aren't always. Sometimes publishing contracts are just time bound and not album bound. Anyway, that's a whole thing. So this expires, and finally, 4 years after becoming free, finally he's really free.
He has no ties.
He has no ties to Warner Brothers anymore.
Is his and his only.
And he commemorates this newfound freedom by officially reclaiming his birth name, Prince.
Ah, got it.
Which I remember this happening in 2000, because as much, of a stink as it was when he went to the symbol, he got a, maybe not equal, but similar amount of press for he's Prince again.
He's Prince again. Yeah, I do remember when that happened. And that was like, I think around the time when I was trying to figure out when I heard about him reclaiming his name, I'm like, wait a minute, why did he do that in the first place? And like trying to figure that out. And, it wasn't up until now that I really understood it at all. But after hearing you explain the ins and outs, but yeah, it's interesting. He's such a clever guy in the way that, like, obviously musical genius, we all know that, but I don't think that any of this was an accident. I think this was all engineered to get people talking about him.
Totally. And it worked.
It did. We're talking about it right now, and he's been gone for a while.
He has been, tragically.
Yes.
But this inspired some people. I mean, if not directly, like I think that Puff Daddy's like a good example of somebody that changed their name a bunch.
Yep.
Because he was Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, who now has fallen into disrepute for seemingly good reason. But he was Puff Daddy, and then he changed it. I think he changed first to P. Diddy.
Okay.
Which was weird. And I'm like, Puff Daddy's cooler. Why would you be P. Diddy? And then he changed just to Diddy. And then then people stopped caring at some point. And I think he was trying to, change it again to like become relevant, but no one really cared.
Yeah, I think he tried to go back to Sean Combs at some point, but it was too busy. The Diddy was diddlin', and that is a story for a different day.
I think that Puff Daddy was the best name of all of them. And that's
it's certainly the one
fun name.
Yeah, Puff Daddy's a good time.
Yeah.
I didn't even have any idea what he looked like, but I knew the name Puff Daddy before I saw him.
Is that right?
Yeah. I didn't have cable.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
I knew I follow. But he's a good example of somebody that kind of tried to harness this for names. I can't think of too many other artists that have like changed their name like that.
Yeah, and now that you say that, that's a good example, because when he does it we're talking about it again, right? Like, oh yeah, Sean Combs is no longer Puff Daddy. Now he's P. Diddy. But I feel like the difference between Prince doing it and him doing it, to me, this is just my perception. Every time he did it, everyone was very much like, well, who cares?
Yeah.
Like,
it was always weird, and then eventually just nobody cared. But it's a good, easy technique to have in your back pocket. Tomorrow I'm going to be like, I am no longer Scott Marquardt. I shall forever be known as Fermata.
Okay. I'm going to be Big W in the cheese.
That's pretty good. I like that.
That's going to be me.
It'd get people talking. Mm-hmm. Get that press release ready.
It'd be like, and the cheese? And like, no, all one word. Just, yeah.
Another person that I think had a very similar experience, and I'll probably talk about this on some episode, but is Taylor Swift, who had kind of a falling out with Big Machine Records, and they owned her masters. And so she created Taylor's version, where she re-recorded every album that she had made up to that point, and told her fans, don't listen to the other ones, listen to these, because I own these. Which is crazy. That's like one of the most innovative things I've ever seen anyone do. It takes so much gall to be like, I'm just going to remake it.
Yeah. And I've always thought that record label in and of itself, like the fact that it's called Big Machine, and I know like their logo is like a tractor or a truck or something, and they're like, oh yeah, that's the Big Machine. I'm like,
the Big Machine Distillery is just a couple miles of that away.
It's such a weird name for a label to me, because we always refer to these big labels as the Big Machine, and then it's like, no, they're literally the Big Machine. You're not even trying to hide it at all.
Yeah, but they weren't started that way. Like, they were started independent. I feel like it was a wink.
Maybe it was.
Anyway,
either way, Taylor's doing all right.
Prince is not alone in going through this, and it all kind of happens for a similar reason. All of these people, Taylor Swift, Prince, etc., they sign their first record when they're pretty young. Prince is 18. Oh, yeah. Taylor, I'm sure, was even younger than that. And they don't have much leverage because they're not superstars yet. And then they become superstars, and then the label owns all these earlier records that they made, and that's tough. I could see how you wouldn't want that to be the case after a while.
Yeah. And I guess just being a little bit of devil's advocate, it's like, well, how many times do they do that? Pour a bunch of money into something and they don't become superstars? The answer is most of the time. Yeah. Yeah. It's a little bit of a Silicon Valley tech startup approach with trying to manufacture these superstars.
Totally. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like it operates on a joint model. Like your success is supporting the 99 other people who got record deals that didn't make it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
it can be hard to tell. Like, I don't want that. I don't want it. I don't want that. I don't like your business model. I am successful, and I want all the money for doing so.
Oh, which I totally understand.
Yeah, I think it makes sense. Mm-hmm. But this story is not completely finished. I have one more update for it.
Okay.
So
let's go.
Shockingly, in a move that stunned the music industry, in 2014, Prince re-signs with Warner Brothers.
He did?
Yes. He signs a contract with Warner Brothers once again. His, nemesis basically. 20 years later, checking my math there, 21 years. But this time, the deal was on his terms. So in this deal, it granted him what he had fought for 2 decades, full ownership and control over the entire master recordings of his classic catalog. All, Purple Rain, 1999, all that stuff.
Okay.
He held out long enough that he came back and got that stuff in the negotiation. And so at the end of the story, Prince was a winner.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. So you mentioned, you hinted at rather, like, oh no, not like that today. Because I assumed it was still owned by Warner Brothers. But now this all makes some sense. He's like, now I've got the leverage. Now I can actually gain control of this stuff. And presumably, like, with the thought that this is going to support his family later. The cash up front is nice. And with that level of money, if you invest it right, you're going to be good. But those songs are timeless. Purple Rain is going to be making money until people aren't listening to music anymore.
Totally.
So, yeah, I can see why he wanted it back so bad.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it is a little funny to me because something that you do see a lot in the industry these days is artists will, fight to like regain, control of either their masters or their publishing so that they can sell it for a giant lump sum to somebody else. It just they're fetching enormous sums of money right now. But yeah, they'll get it and then turn around and sell it for $300 million to some financial consortium.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and I think those financial consortiums are able to play like a much longer game than any one person ever could.
That's the argument.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah.
So in the end, it all worked out for Prince. Not only did he, continue to be enduringly popular and notorious, but not in a bad way, just very well known. His notoriety, never really faded. But he ended with full control over his entire catalog. He always did things his own way. And the vault just kept growing. I mean, that's been the thing since he died of like, are we going to get all the stuff? How many thousands of songs are in there?
Right.
Some stuff's out, but not all of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It'll probably be one of those things. It'll continue to trickle out for, if he really made that much stuff, probably after we're gone.
Yeah.
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 Wild.
It's like that movie that somebody made that like wasn't supposed to be watched for 100 years.
Oh, I heard about that, but I don't remember
who was in it. I feel like it was like John Malkovich or something.
I think it was John Malkovich.
It sounds like this can't be watched for another 100 years. I'm like, okay.
Well, that's I don't stupid. Care then. Yeah.
Yeah. None of us will ever see it.
Yeah. I'm not going to watch it. So I won't spend too much time on it.
Mm-hmm.
But do we have any more to go into there? Or does that pretty much wrap the story up?
That is the story of the purple one that I have prepared for you. And I will say that if anyone out there is like a Prince fan, like Prince fans are like, there's so much to be a fan about with Prince that like people are really, really into it. So I could have told this story over like 8 hours.
Mm-hmm.
It all goes pretty deep, as does everything with Prince. So if anyone out there is like, oh, you didn't even talk about this or this or this. Yeah, I know. Mm-hmm. It's really heady. There's just a lot. And Prince was so smart. He was always playing the right games with the music industry, I think, while also making certified hits.
Yes, absolutely. Well, I have a small story to wrap up on because I heard this story this week and I thought, man, this is a perfect Tape Spaghetti story, but it's too short to actually like do a full episode on. And I don't really know how to include it in one of our multi-part episodes, where we go over several stories. So this is actually accidentally a perfect story for this episode. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to tell it.
I don't mind at all, please.
Okay. So sometime in the early 2000s, there's a young girl named Rose. And Rose is an aspiring singer, songwriter. She has very, very big ambitions. She's very young, though. I think probably in the ballpark of 16. I'm not sure exactly how old she is, but somewhere around there. And she gets a wild idea to go to some celebrities' houses and simply hand them her CD. That's her game plan. So she goes up to this house that's like, it's got a big gate on it and she knows who lives there. And she's like, I'm going to break in essentially and give this person my demo tape. And she goes up to the gate and there's the gardener there. And she goes, hey, I'm here to see the person who lives here, and I'd love to give him my tape. And the gardener's like, no, and she's like, how about if I give you $5? And he's like, all right.
That's all it takes.
And so the gardener lets her in the gate, kind of like, yeah, go this way. I didn't see nothing, type of thing. And she goes in this house and she's like, hello, looking around. Hello. Nobody there. Nothing to be seen. Just a big, ornate, huge house. So she takes, this tells you a lot about the house. She takes the elevator up to the second floor.
Wow.
And so she goes up to the second floor and the doors open. And who should be sitting there but Prince?
Ah!
Yes, this is Prince's house.
And the gardener wasn't like, I'll take your CD or like you can lean it against the door. He was like, well, just go right in.
Yeah, just go right in. And she very much was not supposed to be there. And Prince, seeing this young girl, Rose, was like, you're not supposed to be here. What's going on? And I don't know exactly what the exchange was, but she did give him her demo CD. And then he's like, okay, cool. You're going to be escorted out by security now. Also, where were they?
Right. I am paying people to do this.
Yes. So she's escorted out by security. Presumably, Prince gave the CD a listen, and it never really went anywhere. He didn't press charges, but this young girl, Rose, did eventually become very well known in the music industry. And her name that you may know her as is Kesha.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because Kesha's from here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if
Nashville.
I think this was I think this happened in California, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. I don't remember exactly. Or maybe it was Minnesota. I'm not really sure exactly where it happened. But that's the story I was told.
Had a variety of houses.
Yeah, I'm sure he has no shortage of properties.
Huh. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think it's a crazy story by itself. It's just the fact that, oh no, she actually did make it. But
she certainly had the ambition.
But I don't think Prince had anything to do with it. It was just a crazy story that happened when she was younger.
That's wild. Well, thank you for this, part 2, second story to today's episode. With that, I ain't got nothing else. I don't know about you.
No, it's just funny because I was like, man, I want to tell this story on the podcast. When am I ever going to have a chance to tell a short story about Prince?
Perfect.
Hey, look at this. Look at how the universe has brought it together. No, I don't think I have anything else. So thank you, Scott, for presenting today. I really enjoyed this. I learned a lot of stuff. This is like piecing together a lot of little chunks that I had absorbed through the years and like smooshing it all together in a way that I understood. So thanks for the artfully told story. I appreciate it. And you, dear listener, if you liked this, please share it with a friend. Please share it with somebody you know, a family member. And if you really didn't like it, share it with your worst enemy, because maybe they'll hate it just as much as you did. And if you really think that we need to know some more about Prince, drop it in the comments. We do read them. And maybe we'll make some sort of corrective episodes, because we're definitely going to make mistakes along the way here. We're just doing this out of the love of the game. So thank you, everybody who has checked this out. Please rate and review it wherever you're listening or watching this. And we'll talk to you on the internet very soon. Bye-bye.